Have you learned to use the black side of the force yet? You need more instruction, like some more like insight or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Let it be honest. You know what I'm saying? Be humble about it. If you do, so I'm coming back with the part two of Alchemy, the Black Side of the Force. And again, Alex Will 64. Find me on Instagram under that name. Or Ether Realist is good. I got that as my business page. So let's continue. So we're going to get deeper into how we get down with or get up with, for motherfuckers that focus on directions like that. We were going to get up on, like, applications of the black side of the force, because we already established light side, dark side. How there's really not a dichotomy unless you're on one spectrum or the other side of the spectrum. It's really no light side or dark side. It's just what parts of the force that you like to focus on and apply your philosophy to. And this is why philosophy is important when we're dealing with usage and application of this thing that we call the force. You know what I'm saying? Because Star Wars called it the force, called it the ether, the spirit, or whatever. It's the volatile or volition of the movement of the mind. That's really all it is. Whatever you know mind to be, we deal with mind as the entire field of existence where all things spring, all things move, all things are. And then how anything becomes manifest is through a volition or an intention of that mind. You know what I'm saying? And just dealing with the mind to material hierarchy that I had put out here of on my page, or my not my page. Well, I put it on my Instagram page as well. But I'm also talking about the mind to material series that I got on my YouTube channel, where it gives the breakdown. We start with the mind, then we get into intention or intent, then we get into meaning, then we get into function, then form, and then substance. So you know what I'm saying. So when we talk about the force, we're talking about mind and intent, like how things move upon this whole pool of existence that you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? So applications and philosophy. Understand that when they sit here talking to you about Jedi Sith, we dealing with Star Wars, Jedi Sith, or we talking about good side or light side versus the dark side or evil side, you're really just talking about moralities. Now, when we start talking about master slave morality, well, this goes back to, if you want to deal with like Friedrich Nietzsche and all that stuff, where he had a whole book talking about beyond good and evil, where we're going beyond these moral constructs that both these fictional Jedi and fictional Sith deal with. You know what I'm saying? Then putting in light side and dark side of the force. So when we're talking about the light side of the force, all we're talking about is those individuals who use the force or deal with the force from a slave morality perspective, for the most part. Now, what is slave morality? Slave morality is where you use your morals. Your moral code is based on things of a altruistic nature. Like you're focused on freedom and justice for all. You're focused on um, kindness. You're focused on equality for all. Those type of people. You know what I'm saying? Nobody should rule. There should you know what I'm saying? Everybody should rule themselves. Freedom for everybody. You know what I'm saying? You don't serve yourself, you serve others, that type of thing. Where you're altruistic, you're compassionate, you worry about your fellow man rather than yourself. You know what I'm saying? Basically what you learn in Christianity and a lot of Buddhist circles, like putting yourself below other people and serving others. Like being a true altruistic humanitarian. And then using spirituality to those ends. Like you would only deal with the force or the spiritual side of things or the supernatural side of things for that purpose. You know what I'm saying? So if there's injustice, there's any type of oppression, there's any type of exploitation, or things are not fair and balanced, that's what you would go do as a slave moralist. Like that's the bulk of a lot of people in this world. You know what I'm saying? Have a marinate the tongue. What else? There's other values that a slave moralist is, that they cherish and respect. You know, controlling emotions, keeping the peace. This is the slave moralist. They're all about peacemaking and peacekeeping. You know what I'm saying? They don't like war. They don't like conflict. They like to avoid conflict, or they only deal with conflict if and only if it's the last resort when it comes to any type of problem or any type of issue that arises in any given time of the day. You know what I'm saying? Now, on the flip side, you have the Sith or the dark side of the Force, and those individuals deal with master morality. So what they value is the opposite. They value self-determined, self-serving desires. It's all about serving what I want to do. My will must be done. They value power. They value control. They value strength. They embrace conflict. They love conflict because they understand that conflict is what makes you stronger. So I'm not going to avoid conflict. I'm going to go head on towards conflict because that's how I get stronger. So when it comes to the whole saying, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, this is the meat and potatoes, or just the fucking meat, you know what I'm saying? Medium well done meat or medium rare meat that makes up the Sith or the dark side of the Force. So they believe in passion, or they get down with passion. So they cherish getting into your emotions and letting your emotions be a source of strength and a source of empowerment, whatever you do. And especially if you're dealing with these supernatural forces or supernatural intelligence of the universe or the cosmos, that's what galvanizes or makes a volition into that spirit. Like you're using your emotions, like you're using anger, rage, you know what I'm saying? Fear, even hate. That these become the driving factors behind your use of the force. You know what I'm saying? So you're not about trying to have equality or nothing like that. You're about rulership. You want to be on top. You'll fight, and you'll fight to the death to be the most powerful thing in existence, or one of the most powerful things in existence. So it's not about other people. It's about you serving your own will. May your will be done. Now, is there advantages and disadvantages to both sides of this force thing? Of course. Of course it is. But this is why I told you in the first video dealing with alchemy and the black side of the force is that I really don't lean to one side or the other, but I will say that if I had to choose, I would lean more towards the Sith dark side of it. You know what I'm saying? Because I respect power. And I'm all about self-empowerment and dealing with your own power and gaining your own power. You know what I'm saying? You don't really deal with that on the light side. Light side is about the sharing of power, making sure that no one's enslaved. You know what I'm saying? Like justice for all type of thing. Peacemaking. I know that peace is a lie. And that's what one of the sayings that you get from the dark side or the Sith side of the force is that peace is a lie. There's only passion. You know what I'm saying? And I remember watching a YouTube video about how when you deal with the Jedi, dealing with how the Jedi train their Padawans or their trainees or their apprentices, they teach their apprentices to suppress their emotion. And we know what happens when you suppress your desires or you suppress your emotion, they then explode out of you in perverse ways. This is why if you're dealing with something like the Catholic Church, for example, there's a lot of reason why you're going to see a lot of that fucking pedophilia and all that bullshit going on is because they are forced on the surface to disregard their own passions and their own desires. Like you're a man, like you desire sexual contact. It's fucking etched and fucking injected into the very essence of you being what you are as a man. You know what I'm saying? At an instinctual level, you are here to procreate. You know what I'm saying? One of your instincts is here to procreate. So when you're told you gotta live an ascetic lifestyle where, you're not allowed to have sex with women, you're not allowed to look at women, you're not allowed to have desires for a woman, That's suppressing your basic instinct. And after a while, your basic instinct is going to fucking break through the fucking shackles that you have on it. And then it comes out in perverse ways. So this is why you see a lot of that pedophilia or homosexuality or any of this shit. You know what I'm saying? In these type of groups where they got to suppress their emotions. See, on the Sith side of things, it's all about the embracing of all that. You know what I'm saying? But the downfall of anybody dealing with, the so-called dark side of the Force or the Sith side of the Force is that you can get lost in that shit. And then those passions control you. So this is why I say I deal with a synthesized version of the light side and the dark side of the Force, this is what you learn in alchemy. You look at all the alchemical illustrations, it's all about your animal side and your spiritual side joining together as one. It's synthesized together. It's not leaning towards one side over the other. It's more about you coming to terms and synthesizing the pieces or what can I say? Not the pieces, but the features of both of these sides of you. So I don't even deal with balance. A lot of motherfuckers like to deal with the balancing. I don't even deal with balance. It's about synthesizing both sides. No need to balance. We put it together as one. You know what I'm saying? Like for all those motherfuckers talking about ego, death, and all that, it's like, well, what if your ego ain't really supposed to die? What if it's supposed to fuse and merge with your spiritual intelligence so that these two intelligences become one thing? And I've already explained in previous videos, even with dealing with my occult microbiology 101, that alchemy is all about trying to become the two thing, or the two-headed thing, or the rebus, or, you know what I'm saying, that hybrid. And this is what the hybrid is all about. You're dealing with your animal nature, and it's fused with your higher nature, or like they say in the New Age groups, your higher self. Your lower self and your higher self is one. So it ain't about destroying one and then one just being the whole. No, you are both. Now, when you start trying to put a morality to it, where one side is good and one side is not good, that's not my approach to all that, and I'll never approach it that way. And I don't care if you look at me and say, "Oh, I'm a wrong." So, like, nigga, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? So I see the benefit, and my benefit is backed or supported by what I've studied in alchemy. And since we're dealing with alchemy, the black side of the Force, this is why I didn't say the dark side. I said the black side. So that we don't have to deal with light or dark. Because when you look at what is considered black, it all depends on your motherfucking, the level of your ability to see things. Because, like, for example, if it was nighttime and we was looking at the sky, you may just simply see black. But if your eyes were a bit more advanced at seeing things, you would see all types of colors that your human mind wouldn't be able to fucking detect or discover. Colors that the human mind can't even register. So that's why I'm like, yo, I'm a level of black that your eyes can't even fucking perceive. My nigga. Talking about, dark matter and all that stuff. It looks dark because you don't have the eyes yet to perceive what it actually is. It's beyond the visual, it's beyond the visible spectrum when you look at the whole electromagnetic spectrum, of light. It's beyond the regular human eyes to detect it. You know what I'm saying? Do you have names for colors you cannot see with your regular fucking eye? Well, put it down in the comments, nigga. Let's see what type of colors you dealing with then. Well, show us D, motherfucker. But we still dealing with this book here, you know what I'm saying? Star Wars Book of the Sith. Because this book is all about master morality. So everybody in this deck, or this fictional characters that contribute to, what what their approach to the dark side is all about, they put it in here. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I also want to deal with the whole thing of control and power. Because we have a lot of people out here that are leading others astray. And when you get led astray, you have to also take responsibility for being led astray. You know what I'm saying? You really, like I said, you got to take responsibility for that. So, for example, if you were misled, misguided, or someone actively tried to deceive you and you were deceived, you got to take responsibility for that shit. I'm not a victim. You know what I'm saying? Even if somebody victimized me, I cannot remain in a victim mentality with that situation, is because I was the one that did not have the fucking eye or did not have the antennas to see that this motherfucker was leading me down a path that was detrimental to my growth. You know what I'm saying? I gotta take responsibility for that. Because if I had better discernment, that nigga would have never been able to lead me down that path. Now, yes, it is his fault for trying to be deceptive, but it's also my fault for not being able to detect that deception. So now we're getting into power and control. So, like I said, we're gonna go to my favorite motherfucker in this book. You talking about Darth City, or not Darth Sidious, Darth Plagueis. And Darth in this whole Sith thing means that they have some sort of level of authority when it comes to, the dark side of the Force or whatever. But Darth Plagueis, which is one of the Sith guys here, he explains how he override or overrid or overrode the natural life cycle. So what is he basically saying? He's saying he rose, or he that's what he was trying to do. Like that was his goal, to rise above the life, death, birth cycle, and not even beyond that fucking carousel, like most living beings are. He went above that. So it ain't even about cheating death. It's about conquering death itself. You're not cheating it, we're conquering it. You can even look at some of the alchemical illustrations when you get into alchemy, and you see like a lot of depictions of a man standing on top of a dragon, or you see some sort of being over a dragon. But you gotta know which dragon it is. There's two different types of dragons when we deal with alchemy. It's the dragon that you gotta defeat, and it's the dragon that you gotta merge with. So there's two different dragons. If you want to deal with Kemetic mythology, we're dealing with Apep or Apophis, which is the dragon that you have to defeat, and then Mihin, which is the dragon that protects. Sometimes it's looked at as a serpent. So it's the serpent or the dragon that's coiled around Ra, the deity Ra in Kemetic mythology or whatever. So those are the two types of dragons there. So again, so he said, I forced the Midi-Chlorians, which is their code word for mitochondria, for all you mitochondrial Eve motherfuckers out there that love the mitochondria. I forced the midichlorians or mitochondria to override their natural life cycles. So this is someone who has the willpower, the volition, the will within themselves to sway these microscopic intelligent life forms or organisms in the cell of every living thing to go beyond the cycles of birth, life, or birth and death. Let's just say birth and death. Right there, you done achieved immortality. Because now you're no longer on that cycle like every living thing is. You know what I'm saying? What I discovered is that these midichlorians or mitochondria would not die. So they went beyond that cycle. Instead, they drew upon sustaining force energy, which acted on a microscopic level to halt tissue decay in their host, putting an end to aging and disease. So again, getting back to motherfuckers that come to you like they know everything, that they're masters, that they're, master teachers or whatever. How come they didn't know about that? How come they didn't do this right here, where they went beyond, they controlled their own microbiology or microbes and microorganisms in their body to cheat death, or not stop using that. No, we're not saying cheat. Conquer death. Go beyond death. The sheer force of his will to do that. Right here in this little Star Wars book. You know what I'm saying? They dropping it right in here. It's right in this motherfucker. It's right in the motherfucker. What I pay you, like $16 for this shit? It's right in this motherfucker. putting it out there as if it were fiction. Nah, nah, nah. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, I done got feedback about my whole, like I said, I done said this before. I done got feedback about my whole dream genome thesis and dealing with the ISIS thesis and the balls of fire and, you know what I'm saying, my whole occult microbiology. And there was a few people that were, you know what I'm saying, they didn't jump aboard with what I was saying. They was trying to bypass the whole microbiology thing and just get into the metaphysics and shit. And I'm like, my nigga, you keep trying to ice skate uphill and not deal. You have to go. How did you get here? Like, you just gonna bypass the whole fact that you had to go through a mitosis process within your mother's womb for you to become what you are now, physically. And that your spirit or your soul spirit, or for some people that don't have a soul, their spirit played a part in the whole multicellularity, if that's what you want to call it, a multicellularism that you became. But you started off as a single cell organism. And within that single cell organism that you were, or that you truly are, you had all these mitochondria in it. So this is people trying to bypass the physical as if they have mastered it just because they're dealing with metaphysical concepts. No, nigga, you're just intellectualizing. You're not even getting into the body itself. See, this is the thing I'm trying to say. If you haven't even mastered control of your own body in the process, like the automatic processes that deal with your body, you haven't gone anywhere with what you're talking about. You're just fucking giving us lip service and talking and trying to be fucking depthical when you're really not. Now, if you're a reporter and your whole job is just to give the information out, then okay, I'll put you where you belong. That's your place. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, I just even made a post about it. Let me bring it back up. Cause you gotta check niggas. It's like they telling you stuff, but they're not really where you think they are. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not. This ain't the shit on anybody. It's just like, yo, I have to put you in a certain place because I'm gonna test you. There's going that niggas out here are not being tested. They're not being evaluated on what they really know and what they really do. Y'all just letting them just say stuff, and they're not really giving you like proof of what they are talking about. So this is what I said in this post. Is this post right here? And I should put a link in it. Like I said, I'm gonna put a link to it in the descriptions. It'll be in the description section of this video. So it's this post right here. You know what I'm saying, with the eye, and he has like a crystal ball type of thing, and there's a human body inside of it, right? So, in part of the post, what I say is, furthermore, if all your bodily processes, which includes hormone releases, your metabolism, especially your sleep waking cycles, your cell growth, cancer growth in your body, aging, the circulation in your body, breathing, your emotional reactions to things, genetic expressions. If these bodily processes are clearly out of your current conscious control and are on autopilot, what actual power and mastery do you wield? You are enslaved to these regulators until you take the reins. And any system of law or governance or slavery external to you is just an extension or projection of the autopilot regulators running your life within. So then I say you deserve to be governed over because you really don't govern yourself. Are you sovereign body wise? So this is what I'm saying. Niggas don't even control the metabolism in there. You have no conscious control over your metabolism. You don't consciously control your waking and sleeping cycles. Niggas be falling asleep and don't even remember them falling asleep. You don't control whether there's going to be cancer growing in your body or not. You're not even consciously aware if you have cancer in your body right now. So, an ultimate test of you being here or having a human experience is, do you control your human? Like, do you really regulate that in your body? And most of you motherfuckers don't. And I'm gonna be real. This is stuff I'm learning to do. So that puts me ahead of a lot of people just by knowing that this is my aim and my spiritual growth is to then take back hold of these automatic autopilot processes within my own temple, within my own vessel, my own vehicle. So you need to go through reincarnation all the fucking time because you have not mastered no type of regulation within your own human body. But you're out here trying to control other people. You're trying to control your household. You're trying to control your job. You're trying to control all these different things, but you don't even have control over your body first. So that's the fucking rubric. That's the fucking test right there. So I don't take no motherfucking teacher or nobody above me when they can't even regulate certain human processes within their own body. How the fuck are you above me with that? Why should I be listening to you, you know what I'm saying, for anything? If you're not teaching me or directing me on, you know, what to do as far as my body is concerned and how to conquer these forces. Because what else is involved with that? What else is involved? Your sexuality, your sex. For most part, niggas, dicks, and bitches, pussies control them. They are at the they are controlled by their own genitals. Their genitals run the show and control everything about them. So that's one of the first tests you gotta fucking do in this shit is like tame your sexual beast. Can you even do that? Have you even done that? Because a lot of the time they like to like put this focus on, you know, men, like you need to control your dick, you need to stop busting the nut, you need to, but like I said, it's never on the flip side with the women sometimes. It's like, well, they have a whole fucking vagina that controls their mind too. It's not just our dicks controlling us. Their vaginas control them. Yeah, your vagina be controlling you, sweetheart. You know what I'm saying? And they think it stops at, oh, you're just abstaining from sex and that's control. That's not what we're talking about. That's a mundane level of what we're talking about. I'm talking about, like I said, are we not dealing with occult and metaphysics and all this stuff and alchemy and all that? I'm talking about where you have conscious control and conscious interfacing with whatever intelligence governs your genital area. So getting back to the women, it's what I'm talking about is, you know how they say, oh, you can be pregnant without a sperm cell being hitting one of your eggs, and you can just you just had an immaculate conception. Well, let me go back to the Star Wars thing because the Star Wars shit deals with that very up close. Matter of fact, Anakin Skywalker, who becomes Darth Vader in the whole Star Wars franchise, he is said to be of an immaculate conception. Because they touch on this in the movie Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace, that came out in 1999. And Anakin's mother says she just one day became pregnant. I mean, that's how the story goes. She just one day, she didn't have sex. She just became pregnant with him, with Anakin. You know what I'm saying? Which implies that Anakin is a child of the Force itself. So, you know, they deal with that whole Jesus Christ thing. He's like the Jesus of the whole, you know, Star Wars thing. But when we get to Darth Plagueis in here, what we're talking about, this motherfucker in here, Darth Plagueis straight out tells you. Hold on, what page is it where he just straight up talks about it? Hold on. Hold on, let me see. Wait a minute, which page is he talking about that? Where he's sitting here telling you that he figured out a way to control the Midi-Chlorians or mitochondria to create new life in a woman by creating a zygote within her. Him having the control over that. Hold on, let me bring to that page. What page is it? So it ain't, like I said, if it's something that they're gonna sit here and reveal in a book like this, you know what I'm saying? I know there's some truth to it. It has to be. So yeah, he talks about it right here on page 134. My experiments proved midi-chlorians or mitochondria could be controlled. If this is true, then could they not also induce could they not also be induced to create life on a monocellular level? Midi-chlorians or mitochondria in these cells of a mother could, in theory, be persuaded to craft a zygote. That's what he was. That's what this is what this nigga was on. So when I say conscious control over your genitals, for example, this is what we're talking about. So for example, for a woman, that would be you being able to shut off your menstrual cycle using the sheer will of your mind to turn off your motherfucking blood cycle, your bleeding cycle. You just straight turn it the fuck off whenever you want to. Or, for example, on a lower level, you get it in tune with the moon cycle. You know what I'm saying? In the external realm, in the external world. Or going back to men, like having the ability to stop yourself from ejecting or ejaculating your nut, but still having the orgasm. Because you now have that link of mind to your genitals and you can do that. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. See, you go from body to body over lifetimes not being able to do that or have not tapped into that level of the control over your own body. We talking about your own temple. Before you want to get into dealing with demons and trying to get money or, you know what I'm saying, dealing with any of these various applications of magic, nigga, control your own body. You don't even regulate your insulin regulates the metabolism in your body without your conscious awareness or without your conscious input. So I'm on that trajectory or that mission or that trek or that journey to put my conscious input into all these automatic processes within my own flesh, within my own body. How the fuck I have a ship that I don't even fucking control? I have a vessel that I don't. Come on, that shows your spirit, your level of spirituality right there. That shows your level of mastery right there. So if I go up to you and you claiming to be a fucking master or you know every fucking thing about that, I'd be like, well, prove to me and control your metabolism right now. Control your breathing. We can start there. Because the whole thing of me, like in the last video where I was talking about the embryonic breathing, that was me having conscious control over whether I breathe in air and breathe it out or not. So now that I know that I can reach that level, now there's other levels to be reached. See, now this shit is not mystified anymore. It's demystified. And this is the black side of the motherfucking force. Use it. This is what the black side of the force, black force users use. Because that's what you're calling the Star Wars thing whenever you're using the force, whether it's for the light side or dark side or neither, you're called a force user. And those who have the ability to use the force, they're called force sensitives. So a lot of people out here, they're born force sensitive. Like they have the ability to control supernatural forces to their, or deal with the supernatural force. Because the Jedi side of things, they're not all about control. They're about being submissive to that force. The Sith or the dark side, they're more about controlling that force and bringing that force into their own will. See, this is why he talks about this in his book about the Midi-Chlorians or the mitochondria. He imposes his will over not only his own mitochondria, but the mitochondria in other organisms. And you want me to sit here and say that's wrong? Can't say that it's wrong because certain people will be born with that strength of will. And the reason I deal with the whole alignment thing in Sheshe is because I know that my Christ ancestors went down this path before me or ahead of me, where they mastered their force or mastered their bodies enough to now have the ability to teach their descendants the same thing. So I say, I know my destiny plays a part in being able to control and have the potential realized of my own body. But it's not even just the body, it's the control of the intelligences that control my body. That's mastery. That's the black side of the force. Use it. You know what I'm saying? Use it. I don't know what other niggas got y'all doing. I really don't know. I really do not know what they got y'all out here doing. But if it ain't along the lines of you're putting your conscious direct control over the forces of your own body to start, you're not advancing anywhere. You know what I'm saying? That's a recipe for disaster, even. You know what I'm saying? You dealing with these spirits and these demons or whatever you're dealing with, and you don't even have control over yourself. That's a recipe for motherfucking disaster. That's how a lot of you niggas becoming cancerous. Talking about y'all powerful and shit. Like, no, nigga, you malignant. You know what I'm saying? It's just the same. It's the oh my god, the same concept you get if I were to give $1 million to a motherfucker that is not prepared to deal with that level of money. You see it all the time. You see it in the news all the time. Nigga got $1 million and now he's fucked up from something or another. Whether he done got into alcoholism, the alcohol done got him, or the drugs, or the nigga sitting here splurging. You know what I'm saying? He don't know how to deal with $2 million or one. Not he don't even know how to deal with $100,000. So why would I? It's a recipe for disaster if I give a nigga not ready for that type of money that type of money. It's the same thing with this shit here. You're dealing with powers and forces that you really don't know how to deal with or control. I remember somebody once telling me that it's just like when you start to get into this type of shit, it's just like being a fucking 2-year-old baby trying to drive a fucking Mack truck. And this is we going all the way back to like 2000 what 13 or 2012 2013. I was dealing with the Asar Set Society, the society where Ra Nefer Amen. We had that book Metu Netter Volume 1. I'm pretty sure a lot of you woke conscious niggas done got a hold of that book. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where I got my book from. Like I went directly to the Asar Set Society in Philadelphia, you know what I'm saying, and got that book. So one of the people there, he told me that. It's like we deal with that type of shit where it's like, you know, when you first get into it, it's like you're a 2-year-old trying to drive a big ass fucking Mack truck. You know what I'm saying? Let's get into this shit. If I gave you the sky right now, you niggas will should it be fucked up for you. I gave you all this power and all this sovereignty, and you do not have the ability to run it, manage it, or nothing. It's a recipe for destruction, self-destruction. And then the whole thing of if I'm giving you $1 million for you to sign a contract, whether it's to do movies, do music, or whatever, be an athlete or whatever, that's me giving you power. And then you sign the contract, and in that fucking contract, the provisions of that contract, you're not even allowed to spend the money the way that you want to spend it. You gotta spend it how I want you to spend it. You ain't even allowed to give your money to political organizations. The money I'm giving you, you ain't even allowed to use it for certain shit. That lets me know that no matter how you can have a fucking contract of $69, you get $69 million a year, and you still be under the control of the nigga who you signed the contract with for violating it. Soon as you violate, they snatching that shit up under you. So it's not even your power. It's you rented it. That was some rent center power they gave you. You rented the power, and then when they decided they ain't wanted you to have it, bitch, they took it from underneath you. And now you was left powerless because you never used your own power. Now use that same concept when y'all niggas is dealing with this shit on the occult side. I'm all about trying to build up my own power so that no one can fucking take it from me, whether they're spiritual or physical, when I have it. Use the black side of the force. Huh? Even a simple concept of you riding a horse. Let's keep it simple. And nowadays we don't use horses. We now deal with cars. So the horse and the cars is damn near the same fucking thing. Because that's a rite of passage. Like for you coming into your adulthood, one of the rites of passages was, you know what I'm saying, when you if you're in those so-called primitive societies or going back in our past, you mastering that horse was a testament to your adulthood. They even have rites of passage where you have to go in the woods, kill a tiger or kill a predator animal, and bring that animal's hide or its skin or whatever back to the village, and that proved that you was now an adult in that society. You got to go through these rites of passages. So today we deal with automobiles, we deal with cars. The fact that you're calling a car an automobile, meaning it has its own automated controls. It's a computer in your whole car. It has its own intelligence. It has its own, at least its own, its own intelligence. It's a computer now. You know what I'm saying? And you learning to drive, you learning to master and being able to do fucking U-turns and K-turns and parallel parking and do all that, that's you mastering the car. That's you at the steering wheel being able to whip that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't have the music all the way up. Like, you know how Cedric the Entertainer said in the Kings of Comedy, it's like you gotta turn your music down when you try to parallel park so you can concentrate. But like I said, you master the car. You are now the controller of the car. But let's not be ignorant to the fact that the car still has its own computer intelligence to it. You know what I'm saying? Now, even today, they have cars that drive you itself. It's on autopilot. So it does the driving for you, it does the parallel parking for you. They try to have it where the car can transport you from New Jersey to fucking California and back without your conscious input or you at the wheel controlling it. That's your body right now. That's your physical body right now. It's on autopilot. Meaning there's intelligences that are running it without your conscious input on how to run it or what to do with it. So what mastery and what consciousness do you fucking have? Like you don't even run your own metabolism. You don't run when you wake up and go to sleep. Now, for those of you who do, I commend you and congratulate you for getting to that level. But you know who you are. When I'm telling you this, that you don't know this and you don't know that. Because then I'd ask you to prove it to me physically. You can go up to all your teachers right now, or at least, if they're going to answer your email or your text or whatever, or your inbox message, go ask them right now. Do you know how to directly control these physical features of the body, of their own body, and see what they say? Because that gives you a practical, feasible, pragmatic, concrete answer on what level they're on. And it helps you to be humble. It's like, okay, if I don't consciously control my breathing at this point in my life, I don't consciously control my metabolism, I don't control when I wake up and go to sleep at night, I don't control my own genetic expression. Like I don't turn genes on, I don't turn them off. I'm not at that level. There's another intelligence in my body that controls all of that. Okay, I know where I'm at. See, I have respect for you if you were honest about that. with not even just with anybody outside of you. Be honest with that about yourself, because now you know where your starting point is. It's just like if we was going to scale up a mountain, climb a mountain, you got to be real about where the fuck you are in the mountain so that you know what you got to do and how far you got to go to get to the top of it. Instead of just lying, talking about, oh, I done made it all the way, only got a foot or a couple feet left to go, when nigga, you all the way down at the bottom somewhere. Be honest about it. You know what I'm saying? Because now, like, you listening to what I'm telling you, or, you know what I'm saying, you didn't heard this shit from somebody else. Now it's like I have a practical, pragmatic goal to reach as far as my spirituality is concerned, as far as my mastery and my magic and my occult side of things is concerned. And I don't have to fake it to nobody. I don't have to sit here and, have a low self-esteem and not having reached these levels yet. It's like, no, nigga, I know where I have to go now. So, like I said, you go through all these incarnations, reincarcerations, that's how I like to style it. You know what I'm saying? Reincarnations are reincarnations. And with each incarnation, you're not even mastering the body. Your own flesh, you ain't even mastered it yet. These other intelligences are in control of it until you are. So this even bleeds, this is the black side of the force, by the way. This even bleeds into the whole Moorish shit. So I used to be a Sar Day, or a Sar Auntie Day back in my Moorish science days. I never joined the temple. I was just one of those Moors that was just into sovereignty and private party status and status correction, nationality, and all that. But the same concept applies of what I'm sitting here talking to you about. Same concept. When you deal with these motherfucking Caucasoids with the whole sovereignty thing, the concept is you are you are switching what level you're on when it comes to your SDK trust or your straw man. Are you merely the beneficiary of your straw man, or are you the grantor, executor, trustee of your own trust? So for the massive ignorant people out here, they are not in a grantor, executor level of their own trust. They are just the beneficiary. So the government is supposed to serve as the fiduciary or trustee of your trust, meaning they manage the whole thing, they control it, they tell you what to do and what not to do with it, they run it. That's their primary function. So when you get old enough or when you get competent enough, you go to them and say, okay, I no longer need y'all to be the managers and trustees of my trust. I now recognize myself as the grantor or the executor or the private party, secure party status person. And now I want my trust back. I now can run my own trust. I do not need you public officials to be the controllers of my trust. And your trust is your straw man. So your straw man would include all the things that you own, all of your intellectual and real estate, all your property will be included in your trust. So from a governmental perspective, you got to respect what they're doing, even if it's corrupt. Because if it's corrupt, that's where it's like, they got to step down. But they never step down. They just continue to be corrupt. But their initial job is, what's their initial position for a government? They manage the public trusts. It's not about them just running you and controlling you, except, when they get corrupt. But before then, it's all about them managing your SDK trust. That's their primary function until it got corrupt. Because niggas want to talk about the whole, they took us off the gold standard in 1933. Well, it's like, well, what standard did they use after that? And it's obvious. They used your black ass, or they used your Caucasoid ass, or your Chinese ass. They used your flesh as the standard. They used you as the standard. They took out the gold standard and used you, your trust, rather. Your straw man is the standard. This is why you look at dollar bills and they have certain numbers on them, and those numbers match SDK trust numbers. of the straw man's out there. So all the shit I learned back, yeah, 2013 when I got, yeah, 2013. I learned all this shit back then. But that's the general concept of the whole private party status correction. You're just changing your status from beneficiary to executor grantor of the trust, meaning that you show competency and maturity to control your own, um, estate. You know what I'm saying? Same concept with this shit, with your body. There's forces that you could call governors or public officials spiritually in your body that control things until you have the competency and the maturity to control them yourself. So if you're not consciously regulating your heartbeat, there's an intelligence in you that is doing that for you until you get back to that level of control or a position of power. Until you take it away, that's what you're always going to be operating on from lifetime to lifetime. You'll never be that person that's in control of their body. You'll always be a resident within that vessel, but a passenger. And your vessel is on autopilot. And coming to think of it, a simple ass fucking movie like what's the movie? Wally. And like Riley, that little robot, little cute ass little robot shit. You know what I'm saying? The woman I was dating back at that time was like, yeah, let's just go see a simple little Disney movie. I was like, okay, let's just go see it. And it wound up being a very thoughtful piece that they put together. I gotta give them to it with that movie, with that Wally movie, because not even with the robot, we're going all the way back to, or not even going back to, we're going to the point in the movie where um humanity has become this fat, like everybody in humanity has become like an obese blob and their bones have atrophied. And basically this automaton or this artificial intelligence runs this entire ship of people that do nothing but eat and watch TV on the ship. So the artificial intelligence is control of the ship. None of the humans control it. But the one that's supposed to be captain, like the one of the humans that's supposed to be captain, he realizes that he has to be the captain and control the ship. And now he has to fight that artificial intelligence for control over the ship. So that's the same concept when we dealing with your own body. Your own body, your own flesh. You can tie in the zodiac with this shit. You can tie in astrology. A lot of you sun sign niggas. Or you moon sign, sun sign, ascendant sign niggas. Y'all know who y'all is. I even mentioned y'all before. Like, you go to your Instagram page and you're a Gemini moon, a Sagittarius sun, and a Leo ascendant. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? That's your identity. You know what I mean? Like, that's a badge of your identity. But getting to the sun sign, a lot of you're not riding on the lion. The lion is riding on you. You're not riding the horse. You're not on the horseback. The horse is on your back. So if you're a Sagittarius, for example, when it comes to what level y'all niggas is on, the Sagittarius is riding on your back, meaning that it's controlling you. So the status correction spiritually is you riding on the horse's back or the Sagittarius's back and controlling the Sagittarius. See, y'all don't know what position y'all niggas is on, and most likely it's at the bottom. So when you go back to that carousel at the fucking carnival, they show you a fucking secret clue to what you're supposed to be doing spiritually. So when you on that carousel, you're supposed to be riding the horse. The horse ain't supposed to be riding you. You're supposed to be riding the Aries, the ram. The ram is not supposed to be riding you. You're supposed to be riding on the Pisces fish back. The fish Pisces is not supposed to be riding on your back. The Archon is supposed to be under your control. You're not supposed to be under the Archon's control. You know what I'm saying? Marinate the tongue. So getting back to, like I said, dealing with these midi-chlorians and mitochondria. This is just a piece of this shit. I ain't even really dealing with the actual science of it. It's just the concept right now. You being able to control the powerhouse in the cells of your body. We know that on a mundane level that these mitochondria they play a part in the metabolism and giving you the power and the energy of the cell. What if you had conscious control over it? That means you can tap into a pool or a field of force energy or spiritual energy that never exhausts itself. Meaning you would be immortal after that, after achieving that. And that your tissue or your flesh would not succumb to aging or disease or decay. You would be beyond all of that cycles of birth, life, and death. You'd be above it. You'd be beyond it. But like I said, motherfuckers be so spiritual, but they don't even understand that concept. And like he was saying in this book before, I conclude that force energy is required for life, and that midi-chlorians or mitochondria are its biological vectors. So we're not saying that the actual physical midi-chlorian is, you know what I'm saying, the intelligence. The intelligence uses the midi-chlorian or the mitochondria as a vehicle or vector. So when I say vector, I'm saying vehicle. When I say vehicle, I'm saying vector. That's what a vector is. We established that they use viral capsid vectors in cloning and genetic engineering. Now they're using the CRISPR-Cas, where they're using a biological process that they found in these bacteria that use it for immunity, and now they've manipulated it so now you can edit the DNA of another life form. You know what I'm saying? And then we get into Darth Sidious, you know what I'm saying? This nigga. His book is called Absolute Power. You know what I'm saying? So he believes in the concept of the rule of one. Because before then, the Sith lords, they dealt with the rule of two. And this was something that Darth Bane did. So Darth Bane deals with the rule of two. So what he's talking about when he's talking about with the rule of two is there's only two Sith lords at one time. And he was on that to concentrate the power, or to concentrate the dark side of the force to two people. Because now we can start again. This shit goes into a lot of shit when we talk about magic and African spirituality and voodoo and Santeria and Palo Mayombe and all that shit. Because what happens when too many people are eating off the same plate? There's none left for nobody else to eat. Because that's what some people out here were saying with the whole voodoo thing. Or the whole Ifa thing, we're dealing with the Orishas. Like, it's too many people eating off that plate. So its power has diminished. There's too many people trying to be Oshun. There's too many people trying to be Oya or Ogun. It's too many of y'all trying to do that. You even got Caucasoids out here trying to do that. It's too many of you trying to take this power. So this Sith Lord, Darth Bane, he said, look, we're going to deal with the rule of two. Meaning that there's going to be a master and an apprentice at any given time. There's not going to be a whole fucking group. It's just going to be two Sith Lords at one time. A master and an apprentice. And the apprentice, how the apprentice comes to master, is that the apprentice has to kill the master to become the master. And then he has to go get an apprentice, somebody who's force sensitive or somebody who shows a potential of being able to use the force and deal with the force. And by doing so, they keep the dark side power concentrated to them two beings. meaning that they become stronger because this power is not spread out over a whole horde of people. It's concentrated to two niggas. You know what I'm saying? Two niggas at one time doing dark shit. That's how they become powerful. So then when we get to Darth Sidious, or the Emperor in the Star Wars thing, he deals with the rule of one, meaning that it's just going to be me until somebody destroys me. I'm not going to have an apprentice that is going to, I'm not going to allow my apprentice to take my spot. I'm just going to have, just some disciples. I'm not going to have an actual apprentice, and I'm not going to train that apprentice to be my successor. Because I'm going to rule indefinitely. It's just going to be me all the time, just me, my will. I'm at the top. I'm the emperor of the galaxy, and it's just me. And that's what he achieved to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? Within the Star Wars thing that you just see in the movies. Before you even get into, all the side shit like the books and, the audio books or whatever, just within the movie itself. So he had the willpower to become emperor of the galaxy. Not just the household. We talking about planet systems. He's the emperor of all that. Based on him following the rule of one. It's just going to be one dark side user. And that's going to be me. That's what he was on. I hit my chest a little too hard. I can feel the sting. Woo, I'll be trying to demonstrate and I get passionate and I just hurt myself, huh? Well, lucky I got taco meat up under here. You know what I'm saying? My shirt and whatever. It's good. I'm good. But, and then you would kind of like from a slave morality perspective, you would look at somebody like Darth Sidious and say, that guy's evil. He's an evil guy. He's a nasty, evil man, and he has to be destroyed. But from another perspective, from a master morality perspective, I got to give the nigga his props. If he had the willpower to say, I'm going to rule the galaxy, and he winds up getting that goal, achieving that shit, give the man his props. Now, how he did it, you may not respect that. But if we looking at this from a master morality, we not looking at all that. We looking at, does he have the power to achieve his ultimate goal to be the emperor of the galaxy? That's what I'm trying to fucking get at to y'all. This is what I'm trying to show y'all. You know what I'm saying? Somebody playing some Anthony Hamilton over there. So he was the apprentice to Darth Plagueis. So Darth Plagueis is the one that I've been really focusing on here, the one where he's manipulating Midi-Chlorians and all that, and the mitochondria or whatever. See, Darth Sidious, or the Emperor Palpatine, he was Darth Plagueis's apprentice, and he winds up killing Darth Plagueis. You know what I'm saying? On some slick shit. Because, like I said, Darth Sidious believes in the power of one. It's just going to be me out here. I'm murking anything else. If you ain't going to sit here and be under my rule, I'm killing you. That was his shit. He even went and I made a post about this, he even went so far as to clone many different beings of himself. Like he can clone in many different bodies of his own self and had them stashed in a laboratory somewhere. So the moment that somebody kills him, his consciousness transfers to the next clone in line. So imagine having 50 clones at one time. Somebody shoots you in your head and then your spirit consciousness goes into your clone. So this nigga is really basically a staple in the physical world. There's no way he's going anywhere unless you kill all his clones, because he's always going to find his consciousness is always going to transfer to the next clone of his own self. And that's why people was kind of confused about, when the movie The Rise of Skywalker came out last year in 2019, and people was getting upset that Darth Sidious or Palpatine, he was made the villain of that movie. And it's like, nah, this nigga died in the Return of the Jedi back in 1984. Like, how you just gonna bring him back to life? But you're not reading all the source material on this fucking character. Because that's what he did. He used his Sith power, or all his scientists, and they made like dozens of clones of him. So whenever he dies, because you know at the end of Return of the Jedi, Darth Vader throws him down a fucking shaft to kill him. But again, even if he killed him, but again, he already had clones of himself. So that means the nigga is never going anywhere as long as there's clones of himself. But that's part of his fucking thing. It's going to be me who always rules. And what he's doing is is no different from a virus. Like, for example, like a herpes virus, for example. You can destroy all the herpes bodies in like the herpes capsids or the herpes things in the body. You can do that. But if the herpes DNA is in your DNA, it doesn't matter how much of the herpes you get out of the body. It's a part of your DNA now. So now that the herpes DNA is a part of your DNA, it's always going to be producing those microscopic bodies of itself. You would have to erase the herpes DNA from yours. And that's basically what Sidious did. You know what I'm saying? He's now that virus that, he's always has a body to get back into if you kill him. This is some black side shit. They even sitting here talking about in this book, going back to Darth Plagueis, my nigga. He's sitting here talking about how your mind, if you have the willpower, you can shift your consciousness backward and forward along the time's flow. So they deal with this in the movie, what's that X-Men movie? X-Men Days of Future Past, where Wolverine has to go back into the future, or back into the 70s, the past, so they can prevent those Sentinel robots from killing them in the future. Those Sentinel robots and shit. So they tell you in the movie that, they used the Kitty Pryde girl to use her power, her mutant power, to transport Wolverine's consciousness back to his self when he was in the 70s. They're talking about it right here in the Star Wars shit. You said similarly, one can be able to fold time, not to temporarily displace a physical object, but to shift one's consciousness backward and forward along time's flow. He said he believes an individual can step instantly from one place or one geographical location or localization to another by folding space itself, regardless of the intervening distance. So again, I could be from here, I could be here, and you can be all the way in Japan somewhere. If I learn to fold space, I can step through a portal and be right there, ready to, if you're a female, ready to knock them boots. Knock them boots. Learn to use the black side of the force. So we deal with mastery on this level. Not talk. Not getting drowned in abstractions like some of you do. You're drowned. You've drowned yourself in abstractions. You believe in certain abstractions, and when somebody doesn't believe in the same abstraction, you think that they're dumber than you or not as smart as you. And that you got it, like you got all the sense with all that shit. Meanwhile, you haven't mastered your own fucking flesh or the intelligences that run your entire body. We can root out a lot of niggas out here that's talking that, you know what I'm saying? And then y'all be dick riding these dudes. You dick riding, just dick riding. You know what I'm saying? I can see if it's a female because it's like it's their nature to be dick riding. I mean, you've seen enough pornos or you probably had enough sex to see that they dick ride. Like it's part of their, their side of the sexual act to dick ride. But when we're dealing with niggas doing that shit, like men dick riding other people, That's where it becomes like, why have we landed here in the 21st century having a dick and dick riding? Like, I have a dick. I don't need to dick ride. I dick ride my own dick. Why would I dick ride his dick? You know what I'm saying? That's an excessive amount of dicks right there. You gotta take dicks out of the equation. That's just my dick. You know what I'm saying? But like I said in my first video, the alchemy black side of the force, like when we dealing with the whole mitochondria thing, like I said, mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. You know what I mean? And that's just an aspect of the cellular construct. You still got the nucleus. You still got other, probably not yet discovered by Western science organelles and shit, or shit that they won't even share with you in the public. So this is why I came up with the whole occult microbiology thing. You know what I'm saying? So if you get control over that, if you get into that type of pool of things, because I was just telling you how they show in this book that the Midi-Chlorians all share the same hive mind, like they're all part of they're linked to a universal mind. So tapping into this stuff, tapping into these currents, tapping into these pools, these networks. This is how we gain our black side force power. And then we can start doing shit that you never even seen in your life. You never even seen what we're gonna do. And that's the hierarchy. See, you're controlled by the Midi-Chlorians. We control the Midi-Chlorians. So that by extension, we control you. You know what I'm saying? But putting the ancestors and ancestresses into this, like our, you know what I'm saying, our predecessors or whatever. For the ones that are Christ, that have achieved that Christ mastery status. You know what I'm saying? We deal with that. Because who better to teach you this stuff than someone who's already done it? And how powerful is, then you look at your own legacy. It's like, yo, I'm a part of a pool of individuals and intelligences and minds and spirits that have already mastered their bodies. So when I say alignment, it's getting in tune with them. You get to heaven faster, baby, when you deal with the Christ, baby. You become a crackhead faster when you deal with the crackheads, baby. You know what I'm saying? Yes, there's intelligences at work and your mind. You're not, well, why I got to keep always saying this. You are not the only mind in your body. You're not the only intelligence at work in your body. So if you want to say that, your human consciousness, you want to call that the ego, there's other intelligences involved. So when they came out with that whole term of, subconscious and unconscious and all that stuff, that was really a catch-all term for all these different intelligences at work within you. When they say the collective unconscious, you're dealing with whole universal minds of, like, for example, for the Midi-Chlorians, for example, these entities that control life and death for each living thing in the universe. So you tapping into that, you now have sway over life and death, starting with yourself. You're beyond the cycles. They honk the horn at me because I'm bringing too much black side energy out here. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, I don't know what they honk the horn for. Probably like, get your ass outside here for this place closed. I ain't got time to be fucking with you all day. But yeah, this whole thing is for people that are into power and the right use of power. You know what I'm saying? This is my reason for even bringing this shit out, because this shit I could have just kept to myself. And like I said, we only really scratching, bro. We only really scratching the surface of this shit that I really be into with all this. We're not even going deeper. or more depthically into what can really be said on this YouTube. I just don't want YouTube to know what's on what I'm really dealing with. But like I said, I do have my courses, like for example, spiritual warfare training. What I'm talking about right now, that plays a vital part of that course, that spiritual warfare training. So if you get signed up for that, we get deep into this. We get very depthical into this. You know what I'm saying? And building up your own power, not having to deal with spirits and all these other so-called deities and all that shit for our own personal buildup of power. You know what I'm saying? We just put it in a warfare flavor or warfare trajectory. Because I'm out here helping warriors become spiritual warriors. You know what I'm saying? Call me the warlord. You know what I'm saying? I'm warlording out this motherfucker. You know what I mean? Because we embrace conflict just like these Sith do. Because whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger or stranger. We'd rather it be the you know what I'm saying, the former than the latter. You know what I'm saying? Because a stranger, I don't know if that would cause you to become out of alignment and then you get malignant and cancerous and tumorous. We wouldn't want that. You know what I'm saying? We would not want that shit. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, in terms of everlasting life, excuse me, and all that, I think you need to deal with the alchemy and the black side of the force for those things. So like I said, man, that's all I have to give today. Hope I put more perspective out there because I felt that my first video just it was going to be a part 2 anyway, but I just felt that I only skimmed through the surface. I just want to get a little bit more depthical what I'm really, getting into. Because this is where you can also apply those funeral rites or those funerary rites where we learn how to direct certain spirits into certain bodies where they don't have to deal with what they dealt with in previous lifetimes. So let's say you dealt with in this life some sort of sexual abuse, or you got born to parents that didn't care about children, they was neglectful. We know, like, if we dealing with funerary rites, we can try to get your spirit into a new body that would be very conducive for your spiritual growth, where you don't have to deal with fucking, being sexually abused anymore when you come into a new body. That's a part of the whole funerary rite thing. You know what I'm saying? Because if we helping you master certain physical elements of yourself and the supernatural or metaphysical intelligences over that, it's like, yo, you don't have to be ignorant about where you would go next into your next incarnation. You wouldn't have to worry about your current mind being erased, you know what I'm saying, and then going into a new body. You wouldn't have to worry about all that because you've mastered those levels already. So again, before I cut out this video, test these niggas out here. These females, anybody, test them. Like, yo, do you have a conscious control over this part of your body? Do you consciously control it? Do you do that? You know what I'm saying? Because again, it's not to sit here and try to, what's the word? Like try to down somebody or, you know what I'm saying, shit on them or anything. It's just like, yo, we just need to know where to put you. Since you don't control none of your bodily functions like that, we don't put you on that higher level in the hierarchy. You still need to do mastery yourself. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of how much information you're giving me, or, you know what I'm saying, how much information that, you're putting on your YouTube or your Facebook or your Instagram. Because that's just lip service. I mean, anybody with a book can do that. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the reason why I'm bringing this to the fore is because, like I said, it's in this book. And this is what, this type of stuff we do on our Black Side mission. But if you want to play a part in that, or you want to get involved with it and you can progress with us, you know what I'm saying, join my spiritual warfare training course. You know what I'm saying? The link that is down there in the description section of this video. You know what I mean? So that's alchemy, the black side of the force. You know what I'm saying? May the black side be with you at all times. Peace is a motherfucking lie. Passion is what we hit to. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Word. Use the black side of the